Welcome to my store. Okay, so today we're going to talk about how to feed your corals, rotifers, and copepods, and brine shrimp, and how to feed those things to make them most nutritious. The basic start to everything is algae. Okay, this is Reef Crew's concentrated Nanochloropsis oculata algae. It's very concentrated, very dark, very green, very nutritious. Okay. You can either buy it like this in a concentrated form, or they sell the culture disc where you can actually start your own cultures. When you do this, what you do is you buy a culture disc, you put water on it, you let it sit for a day, and then you take a sterile Q-tip and you brush it off into your culture bottles. I use 2-liter pop bottles and bigger 8-liter, I think, water bottles. Okay, anything with clear. If you use a container that's translucent, it won't grow as fast. If you use a container that's like blue tinge to it, it won't grow as fast. It will still grow, it just won't grow as fast. Now, when you get the algae culture, you can use it to either feed directly to your tank, or you can feed it to a rotifer culture. This is my rotifer culture. Come on in and take a look. Okay, do you see right now, the water's mostly clear. You can see my hand under the water, okay? That means the rotifers have eaten the algae and they're full, okay? A rotifer is really just a food delivery system. It doesn't have a lot of nutritional value other than what's in its belly, okay? They need to eat pretty much all the time, and so what we did here, we culture them in this bucket. Then to maintain the culture's health, we take another bucket, empty, reasonably clean, and we pour off 2/3 of the water. Then we take our brush and we scrub this bucket. Okay? You're not going to hurt the rotifers by doing that. So then we come on over here. Here's my refugium. So we pour this in there. Okay? You can see there's a little bit of color left in it, but there's not a lot. Now, what's going to happen is all these coral and clams and the zooxanths and everything, they eat this, plus there's a resident population of copepods in here. Okay? Now, for the copepods, you can culture them in a bucket, but it's more work. For the rotifers, then you scoop out the same amount of water just out of your tank. Okay? Add it to a bucket. I like to use buckets with plastic handles for this because they don't rust. Okay? Then you take your green water and you add enough so that you darken up the culture. So that you can see my hand is getting dimmer and dimmer. You don't want to have too much in it, because if you've got too much in it, the rotifers clog up your cilia. Okay? So now I'll take this back into the back and put it back with the air stone again. Doesn't need any filtration because every day I change 1/3 of the water with filtered tank water, and you just keep this cycle going. That way your culture doesn't crash. Okay. For the copepods, you buy them, put the bottle, dump it into the tank. Okay. You can also feed the tank directly with green water. Okay. This is how the copepods get their food, because there's not that much algae left in the rotifer water. Also, this will keep a population of rotifers alive in the tank as well. Now, we do this every day, and the water looks a little cloudy for a little bit, but it'll be clear again in half an hour, whatever, and it keeps your corals growing really well. Now, if you want to feed baby fish, baby clownfish, newly hatched shrimp, seahorses, etc., you need to strain out the rotifers. Okay? These are the L type. They're 100 to 300 microns. They're also from Reef Crew. Okay? So, this is my disc. As you can see, I got it wet and left to go to something, so it rusted. This is 52 micron cloth. These rotifers are between 100 and 300, so all you do is strain them through this, and then you feed to your babies. These bags each have 200,000 in it. Okay? So you take a percentage of the bag, you take how many babies you got, how many rotifers you need to feed them per each period of time, and you just do the math. Okay? When you're culturing the rotifers yourself, you're guessing a lot more. This is a little more basic. They're more concentrated. They sit in the fridge. The other ones, you just culture them. They reproduce so rapidly that it just keeps your culture going. Now, Reef Crew also has the buy 10, get 1 bag free. So we support that program. Now, for growing the green water, it needs fertilizer. This is Algae Grow, also a Reef Crew product. And you add that to the water. The water you're culturing the algae in is not water out of your tank. If you use water out of the tank, you're going to introduce foreign spores of other algae, and your culture will start off green, go kind of golden yellow, and then it crashes and it turns clear, and it bubbles and frosts and it's no good to you anymore. Okay? So you use fresh water, you sterilize it in the microwave, 1 liter per 7 minutes on full power, let it cool down, add the salt to it, then you put it in sterile bottles. You can either bleach them or you can use hydrochloric acid. Bleach, you have to leave it sit for a while to get rid of the bleach. Hydrochloric acid, you just rinse them out. If there's a little bit left, you get pH drop. I use basically simply the syringe, basically 1 ml per liter. It's actually 2 and a bit per 2 liters, but you round her up and there you go. Okay, then we also got the brine shrimp. We'll get a bucket. These brine shrimp are freshly hatched, so there's no point in feeding them. They do not have a mouth and they don't have a butt. Okay, so I culture them in this jug. I culture them up in the window so that they get sunlight, because sunlight, any light actually, makes them hatch better. Okay, it activates some. So, put these into the bucket, and you try to direct the hose around to where you see the cluster of baby brine shrimp. Now they're kind of reddish, so they're fairly easy to see. I don't know how well they show up on camera, but you try not to get any of the crud on the top or on the bottom. The cysts, they have a tendency, if you're feeding it to little baby fish, the cysts will bind up in their belly, and they won't be able to push any food through, and therefore they won't do well. They'll actually probably die.
So how do you strain out between the different things?
You can't strain the cysts out, so what they do is the cysts either float or sink. Okay? And so I took this out of the window about 20 minutes ago, left it sitting there with no circulation, and that way the eggshells aren't mixed in with the baby brine. Okay? So I do the first part like this, and then for the second part, I have other glass containers that are narrower. So now I'll put this into here, and I'll let it sit again. And that way the brine shrimp, eggs, brine shrimp in the middle. Okay? Then I wash this jug out every couple of days. I don't go too crazy. It gets new water each time. The green on it's from the algae, that's okay. I just wash all the crud off from the brine shrimp because they are rather messy. Okay? Then you take your brine shrimp here, and this here is an air filter. Okay? It's not quite as fine as this, but it's faster, and baby brine shrimp aren't that small, so it works. Okay? Then I just pour the brine shrimp through the strainer, and then there's the brine shrimp. Okay? Those are all just baby brine shrimp, live, and very nutritious. They were just hatched. I put the eggs in yesterday, about 24 hours ago, and now they're ready to feed. Okay? So we're going to put these into the refugium as well. Okay?